We voted again, and you guys voted for Holbein Colored Pencils. Okay, so we have 3 sets here that make 36. I'm Jenny from Jenny's Crown Collection. I help you guys find the coolest art supplies, both old and new. And these are fine art supplies today. For this, I just want to let you know that the coloring book that I use, the I Am Confident, Brave, and Beautiful, that they sent me that. And also that Holbein sent me these colored pencils. And I'm so grateful, because if I had to buy all these art supplies myself, you probably wouldn't be seeing Holbein until maybe next year. I used 2 papers from Hahnemuhle. The first one that I did was the Harmony paper from Hahnemuhle, and then this was the watercolor paper, and then the other one was the bamboo paper from Hahnemuhle. So you'll see the differences. The paper determines everything when you're using colored pencils. So in this video, I'm gonna do it all. Like I said, I'm gonna do the swatches. I'm gonna actually color, like do a watercolor print for you. I'm gonna do one just on the smooth paper. I really wanted to give you guys a review and make sure you knew the capabilities of these colored pencils. They are a more expensive colored pencil. Why? They're an artist's colored pencil. You can use them kind of like a watercolor type thing. You can also use them just on paper. You can use them straight as they are, but you can also blend with them. They blend super well. They color on black paper. They color on any paper. I started off doing swatches on the watercolor paper. I blended with the Melts blending solution that Holbein sent me, and that worked out really well. It worked more as a watercolor, but I wanted to see how this reacted on other papers. So I ended up doing another swatch chart, and for that one I did it on like a smooth HP, it's a little bit thicker paper, and it ended up looking super pretty. And I blended with the, I don't know how to say this, and if they ever watch this video they'll probably be like, this is how you say our name, but it's a Caran d'Ache blending stick. Holbein actually has one too, but I was already in the middle of making this video. I was like, I don't have time to wait like 2 weeks to get this colorless blender. I want to get this video out this week too. But when I order it, and if I notice a significant difference, I'll let you guys know, and I'll update it in the blog post. So there'll be an accompanying blog post that goes along with this. And then I also did one on black paper, because this is really cool on black paper. And what you can do is you can take like a darker color and blend it to one of the lighter colors, and they almost show up like the white opacity. They show up really light. So you can have a lot of fun with those if you're coloring on black paper. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, and let's get started. These are the Holbein Artist Colored Pencil. I'm really excited to show these to you today. I am so grateful that Holbein sent these to me. They are new to the US. They have been around in Japan, but if you've seen Holbein pencils before, they've added this AP sticker right here, because there's different requirements for different countries. And this is for the US, so it is safe. They actually encourage all artists of all age to use these. So I'm going to show you guys real fast. It also comes, well, these are all the colors that are available. There's 150 colors, and they come in 12 metal tins, which are these ones right here. They come in a 24, a 36, and then 50, and then 150, and you can get that in wood or not wood, and then 100. One day I would love to have them all. They are $450 to get 150 of them. That color palette is so pretty. I would really love to have it all. Our pencils are 7 inches long, 3.8 millimeter core diameter, and then we have a 7.8 millimeter barrel diameter, so that's that diameter. Your core diameter is how much pencil lead you actually have. And then you also have this color permanency rating, which is another name for light fast. So that's like the more stars you have, I think it's probably the same as polychromos. I don't know if it says on here anywhere, but you'll see here. Yeah, so I see 1, 2s, and 3s on here. So if you really want your work to hold up, concentrate on using the 3s. And I'm not sure this pastel set that we used, what they have on here. So there's a 2, 3, 2. So these are pretty good. It's the ones that you probably want to avoid if you're trying to do something with light fast. So like salmon pink, probably, if you're looking to do something with, and rose pink, has some that you want to stand up the test of time, use the ones that have the 3 stars. And you can really do that, especially with like such a good color palette. You could pick the 3 stars pretty easy, and you can combine them too. Also, I do know that sometimes when you use blending solutions and everything, it will dilute some of the light fastness. So that's just a warning for you there. In here, let's see, it says push. And you kind of pull it up like that. Look at how pretty that set is. And on here, it shows you which color comes in which set. A lot of the pastels are truly unique. And then some of the designs and basics are doubled with the 36 and the 24, but some of them are unique. So it really just depends. So if you are wanting to get every color, I would suggest go with the 150, because some places you can get like these sets and then you just keep adding to them, but they don't work that way. So, but these are really, I think it's because they wanted to give you like a complete range of sets, and so they included all of these. They didn't necessarily make it so here you buy A, B, C, D, and you get all of them. I printed this page actually on Hahnemuhle bamboo paper. So we're going to try out bamboo paper with this. We're also going to try out watercolor paper from Hahnemuhle, and this is cold press. So I know some of you have been asking cold press, hard press. This one is cold press. I think it's a little more forgiving than warm press. Maybe one day we'll try warm press. But right now we're going to try that. You can't actually print on here, so I have to do a swatch chart, and this time I did put in the lines and little marks. So it's a little bit more, it's not as crazy as my watercolor one for the Faber-Castell's ones were. Right, so we're gonna open these up. I think we'll do the swatches first. And I really love this palette. Which one would you guys pick? I think I'm gonna pick this one just because I love the colors and I think it would lend itself really pretty. And you get this full range, and I would probably use this full range. So when I'm coloring, I either like to have like a set of colors I'm using, or if I'm doing rainbow colors, I'll probably use more than like 3 or 4. But if I'm just coloring in general, I like to use 3 or 4 colors, or 3 or 4 colors with shades in between. So like, but I don't have the various shades to go up. So what I would have to do with these is use light and dark, and you can get that effect with using these pencils. I'm going to do like 2 squares, so that way, I don't know if I like the color order. So me being me, I'm going to, because they have the pink purple, so I'm going to actually start probably with this pink and go until I hit this purple. Or I could even start here. But I like to start with my reds, and they have like this tissue paper. I don't know if you can see that under there. They have this tissue paper to protect the pencils from the case. They're really thorough, and this is the only graded pencil they have because they want kids to use pencils that are high quality. They want you to start with the pencil that is the best. They don't want to skimp on that. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a line, and I'll do 2 lines, right? So I'm going to draw one that's like almost equal, and then we're going to do 2 swatches. It's going to be darker here in the corner, and like I said, when we're doing this, and you see right now, it might look different on different paper. This is a watercolor paper, and we're going to be applying an aqueous solution to it. And then you'll see also what it looks like on other papers. These pencils will look different than what's on this paper. Because you can see, I think it's because of the paper with the edges, you can see there's a lot more white spots. But if I took, let me see. This is this is also a Hahnemuhle paper, and I love it. I love this size. I've been pulling this out. This is a smooth paper. You can see how smooth it goes down. So, you know, maybe I should do swatches on there too, so I could see kind of what it would be like. But I really wanted to see what it looked like on here. So we're gonna do that one. Okay, like I want to keep them in color order. The pigment is super pigmenty, so that's a plus. Lays down. You can see how thick that is. So if you are pressing full hard, you're gonna get coverage on this paper, even though when you come out here a little bit more, you don't get as full coverage. But I think on a smoother paper, you would get definitely a lot more coverage. Okay, I'm really curious to see how this aqueous solution is going to work. I'm just gonna actually not spray it on because I feel like you might get too much. And I would say less is more when you're dealing with stuff like this. So just barely go in there. Oh, you can see I had some stuff on here and it went in the solution. So maybe you could even put some in the cap. So I'm just gonna do the bottom here and kind of see what happens with this. So the gradient, you can see. It really becomes more, like, you can tell it's not as, you can really fill in all those white spots now. And you can see it's definitely more pigmented on this side. Okay. So I'm gonna actually pour some into the cap. I love how that's turning out. So it takes a minute, so you just put it on. I feel like there is a bit of a reaction time to this. And this is on watercolor paper. So if there's another paper that's better, I thought this one would be the best since it's made for aqueous solutions. And so far, look at that, that is so pretty. On smooth paper, I wonder how it would do on here too. Let's just look how it would react on this smooth paper. If I keep my strokes down, let's see if it does any better or worse. So this is like your blending solution. I feel like it behaves, it looks actually pretty nice there too. It behaves more like a colored pencil on smooth paper. And then if you want to get this watercolor effect, but with oil pencils, you're gonna come over here and get that. And you could probably blend these colors too. You could either like blend them. So I'm letting it react a little bit. And it's gonna dry a little bit different than what is put down here. I just have like a tiny, tiny amount on my brush. And I'm taking the color off over here. Because I don't want these colors, I want to get swatches of them. I don't want them to blend together right now. But you could, if you wanted, come down here and kind of blend those two together. So just a small, small amount goes a super long way. Then you, like I said, ooh, maybe I should do that. Then I could see with my swatches what it would look like, right? Like if you blend two colors that are side by side. The only thing is one side's really pigmented and one side's not. Maybe I should stop that, I don't know. Okay. This is just a watercolor brush that I'm using, soft aqua. Let's do our designer. So these ones are definitely going to be like a lot more saturated colors. Our white will actually show up on white. This set, I really like it. It's really complements this set right here very well. The colors are awesome, but I love how vibrant they are. They are so pretty. I feel like that would make a pretty picture too. I do wish I had red starting here, but that's okay. It was a mess up. You could probably, some of these, like those two together, you could combine some of these like to make a picture, you know, or like do a really dark one with a light one. It would look kind of cool. I put the names of the swatches on here. I should also probably put the names of the sets that came in here. I made a couple mistakes. I actually used this Card d'Ache. It's good for oil and wax-based medium. So this is oil. Holbein does make their own blender, but I don't have that. And so you can see this is with the blender. This was with the aqueous solution. So it's about the same blending that you're gonna get on this page. What we're gonna try to do now, I thought I would take this paper that I have and use these two blues that are of different hues. So I'm gonna take this and bring it down and then see how it blends into this other one. Well, that's really pretty. See how it blends, like kind of like on its own a little bit. Then bring this back in a little bit. So you're really getting that gradual color right there. Do you see that? Especially when you come back, you start to come on top of it. Then I would come back in here. Okay, that is amazing. So you can do so many things with that. I love that. That is really cool. And then you can bring it out lighter, out here. I think you just have to experiment with these pencils and kind of see what works best for you. But that is so pretty. You can get a lot of really nice gradients. This was Sharpies actually. I was like, oh, Sharpies, you can do gradients too. I just thought of Sharpies as just writing on top of something. Anyway, so there's that. I started with this one, so we'll start with this one. So we're coming down here. Okay, and I am just gonna do it light on the other half. They're kind of chalky to me, it feels like a little bit. I wonder how they would go down on smooth. I'm gonna actually print this on another sheet of paper so you guys can see how it reacts to different papers. Like if you're using the aqueous solution on this one, it might be better. I think you should get this pastel palette? Yes. It's beautiful. Look at how pretty that is. That is like super duper pretty. Right, here is smooth HP paper. I want to see how these pencils react on those. And here's our other one. The color paper, the paper color is different. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did over here. Yeah, so these are acting. So if I were going to use these like to do colored pencils without the blender, I would definitely use a smoother paper. I feel like they're a little bit chalkier and your coverage isn't as nice, but I would come in with this smooth paper. You can see how amazing that is coming down here, right? But like all those crevices that it missed on the watercolor paper, it gets in these papers. So look at that. So I did half of it like light and half of it not. So you can see that one, and then you can see that one. That one's still pretty, but you get those white spots in there. So if you came through and used like the blender on that one, it might look good, but I really like how that one turned out on that page. It was a lot smoother. If there's a white one in here, sometimes what you can kind of do with the whites, this is from the different set, you can come over this like where you want it to blend and just get the blending in a little bit more right here. And then so even, let's say we want to put this blue and this green together. Let's pick a spot like this right here. So we color it 1/2 blue, right? And 1/2 green. And we have this line right there. So we can come in with this white colored pencil and see how it kind of goes together there. There we go. Now we get like this gradual from blue to green. And I'll put it over here too, just so we can see where else. I'm like, is there another heart? Yeah, here's the other heart. So I'll leave this like normal. We are just trying out various techniques. Oh, this paper's a little rough, so it might be a little rough. Gotta make sure your surface is nice. So without the white, you can see there's like this line right here. When you have this right here with the white, you really get this nice gradient going on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that page that we had yesterday. I'm gonna try to do some watercolor to it so you guys can get that effect. I went through last night and I colored this whole page. So this was on the smooth paper. You can see you get some really pretty tones in here. I was able to do some blending. I used that blender on some of these spots to get those, and like this heart, you can see that got blended. I used just some strokes on here, but this unicorn head I blended together. I think it turned out really good, and I did some light coloring and dark coloring here. And on these hamburgers, the only thing I found in the set, I didn't have a brown, so I did bring in brown, but I pretty much tried to stick with what the set had. You know, I don't want to bring in other colors, but sometimes you have to, especially if you're coloring a complicated piece like this. But I really like how it turned out. I feel like it was super pretty. But I want to see what, and I probably won't do the whole thing. I want to see how the watercolor would look. So I'm going to try to do some of the same coloring there and see how it turns out with the watercolors for you guys. I think the difference is going to be with this one, you're going to be using more hand strength. This one, you're going to be painting more. So if you're a person that's like, I want to save my hand strength, I would definitely recommend doing it this way. So I might do it a little bit different, but we'll see what it ends up looking like. So I'm just going to color some of the top so I can kind of bring that gradient down. You'll see when I paint it what it'll look like. I might bring some off from the side too. So we had this pink bunny over here, I believe. So I will color in the ears. And then maybe we'll just color like light in here and bring that in. We'll see how this goes, right? I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. I'm pouring just a little bit into the cap so that way if I get color on here, then I won't bring it down. Like I said, it takes a minute to activate, so just activate this. Then you can kind of bring it down. You see how that, I'm bringing it down into this. So our effect is very different, but watercoloring is very different. So I'm starting to run out of liquid a tad, so I can put it back in here. So So I can keep bringing it down. So I actually might like this one better. This is not watercolor paper. So you see it's wrinkling a little bit, but watercolor paper would be the similar. Actually be a little bit rougher. So I'm just gonna pop in here. I don't know if this is the brush I want. You can get so many different kinds of watercolor brushes. You have, it's just crazy the amount you can get. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, the bunny, and then the middle, so we can see what that's gonna look like. But that's really pretty, and you just kind of keep bringing this in until you have your desired effect. I think that's so pretty. You can see how it's already a lot less rough than this side over here. So I'm gonna just come in. Let's see. This says it's safe for children. I'll have to look at the label. Clean your brushes. Don't get in your eyes. I don't know if I would use this with kids. Maybe like an older kid. Like if they're used to using. Look at how pretty that is. I love how that's just coming together right there. I really wanted to give you an idea because those swatches I did, and like I said, the swatches don't always have to be perfect, but you kind of get an idea of what you can do with something when you really start to just try to use it. And that bunny's already looking so much better. And you don't need as much. So if you're wanting to save your hand but still make a really pretty picture with these colors, I would definitely use this method. I mean, you're gonna get totally different effects than if you were using. That is so pretty. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do, so I'm just gonna blot that off. I love how that turned out. So this is either gonna be really good, really bad. So what I did on the other one is I kind of did these lines, okay? And what I want to see, this one's gonna be a little bit trickier. I'm gonna take this in, activate it, and start spreading. But you wanna make sure not to go back too far. Otherwise you will pick up the other colors and bring them downwind. So if you do want to get that gradient, you kind of want to stick to the same colors until you're, and if you have letters like this, you want to make sure you don't get, oh, this is looking beautiful. Oh gosh, so different, but also so beautiful. That I loved how that turned out. Let me just show you the difference here. Okay, so this is effect. You can really see the lines, which is pretty. To get that effect, you'd probably have to color this super light. And I feel like if you're trying to get a large area, actually having the tip not super, this tip super sharp helps you be able to cover lighter, easier. But if I'm gonna say which one I like better out of those two, I definitely like the second one, this one better. So I feel like you get that super de-duper pretty gradient right there. So what do you guys think? Do you like the watercolor effect with Holbein better, or do you like this one? This one is still super pretty, and this one's finished, so if this one was all finished, it might look super pretty too. And I also decided that we should probably do a swatch chart on here too, so we can see how you can do swatch charts on lots of different paper. And I'm actually going to do just a rough swatch chart. It's not going to be anything like super fancy, but I'm going to do one on here too, just so I can get an idea. So I'll do those. I'll probably have things go super fast in this video, so that way it's not like 2 hours long, but I really wanted to have you guys get an idea of what came in these pencils. So we are going to go through our sets again. And I'm going to do like I did at the top, but I'm going to use instead this blender. If I had the Holbein blender, it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll get that to see where that would take us to. But I don't have that one right now. I actually like this better that it's labeled, because when I was trying to put the names on it, I got confused. So that is a lot smoother, so you can kind of see what you would get if you were just using them by yourself. And you might actually not even really need a blender. You can kind of take this back over on itself, I kind of learned, and kind of blend it that way. And they also will blend together. And like I said, my swatches, they don't need to be super perfect when you're putting them down. I actually like them to kind of go outside the lines a little bit. I mean, you could be totally different. And you're like, nope, I don't like that. So we'll do 2 of these. One where we'll use the blender, and one without. My hand is hurting now. Oh gosh. Colored pencil is not for the faint of heart with hands. But you can see I went over all of these, especially on these darker colors. You can see how it really blends it together really well, and it probably could be more perfect. I was just trying to get it done. So we'll go over the black paper. My hand is like, no. But I really want to do a swatch for the black paper, because I feel like to get because you can use these on so many different surfaces, and you can use them, I probably won't label the top, but you can use these maybe with the white afterwards, but you can use them on so many different surfaces that it's good to see, because this is totally different. Like this you would use for watercolor, and this one you would use if you're just using them by themselves. This paper is fine. It's like a smooth paper. It's not going to get a lot of these rough edges in there. But you could use a blender on this paper, but on this paper it's really going to come through, and you're going to be able to fill the color in a lot easier. So you might save your hand some time if you're just coloring something. So this is if you're going to do some watercolor. I want to also show you, so there's very many uses, very different papers. It looks different on so many different papers. We're going to just try like a couple colors on here. We'll try the blue. Look how vibrant that is. So you could do some really cool like chalk drawings. And this is like a darker color, so it still shows up and it looks really good. Let's see the purple color. So you're still getting pigment. It's a little bit harder to see in the camera, but I can see it on my screen. This one, of course, is going to show up white. Let's look at some of those pastels on this paper. So I'm just gonna, these would probably just end up everywhere when I'm using them. Okay, push and then pull right here. So I'm sure this would make like a really pretty drawing, because all of these are pretty light. So let's just look. Yep. But the thing is too, you want to make sure that, especially when you're on dark paper, that they're showing up different colors, and they are. It's like you wouldn't want to use something and it's like showing up the same color. That one's a lot more yellow. Get some of the, we already have blue out. Let's try the purple. So that's really like, you could like do something like that. Oh, look at that. Blend those together. I don't know if you can see that, but you could really get this like gradient outline to bring out like that purple. And this blue over here, you could bring this one out with this. And they really do color well on top of one another. And it creates this different blue right there. That's really cool. So then you can come back over it with this to kind of get that more uniform a little bit. Oh, that is so pretty. Okay, what should I should probably color that next, right? Oh, I love how those turned out. These are the Holbein pencils. So for this one, I don't know if I'm gonna, you could go light a little bit at the end, whatever. But I just want to make sure I get these in order. I guess it doesn't really matter. These are just rough swatches. Here are all our swatches, so we can really see which ones stand out. These blues, this brown. So if we had the whole set, we could probably come up with a whole bunch of things whole bunch of pencils, so it's really important to put them down on paper because they look totally different than they do on here. You could do some really, really cool things with black paper. So we're going to take it back to this other side. See where we blended some of those together. So you could do that kind of thing where you take like this purple and this blue or this green. So you kind of blend them together. That would look really cool on a picture. And highlight with some white or highlight with each other. But I make sure that you do black swatches, and I'll probably put the names on them too. That way it'd be super easy. These remind me a lot of the color escapes from Crayola, but I imagine these ones would be a little bit nicer, but this is something I colored using similar pencils. And you could do the blender on here too and see how they blend together. It's just another idea. So we got our 3 swatch sheets. Look at how different all those swatch sheets are. Isn't that amazing? Those are so different. Let's talk about the palettes for just a minute. The palettes that come with this are beautiful. Sometimes when you buy a color palette, you're like, I'm missing that color. Like, I can color a picture, but I'm missing that color. And the palettes that came here really work well together. So even if you just got these 3, I feel like you would be really set, and you can blend these colors too. So you can have, I only used 1 set when I colored. I'm really big on keeping the color palette nice and tidy and not introducing a lot of other random colors in there unless they're like shades lighter. But I just wanted to use the pastel and see what I got. I did have to bring in a brown to the picture that I colored because of the hair, and there was a hamburger, and I just didn't have a brown, and I'm like, who's gonna believe that it's orange, you know? Are you gonna even recognize that that's a hamburger if it's not brown? And there were no darker colors to bring it in. So if you're getting the pastel set, I would definitely recommend getting either the design or the basic, because then you would have like a range of colors and they would look really pretty together. But if you were gonna get 2, I don't know if I'd get the design and the basic. The pastel colors are beautiful. I would like 100%, if you're only gonna get 1, get the pastel colors. I just think they're a beautiful palette, and some colors, when you color with them and they're supposed to be lighter, like my Andy Warhol crayons, I don't know if you guys saw that video. I was very disappointed. 5 of them didn't even show up. I was like, and then I tried them on black paper and they didn't show up either. I'm like, who makes a crayon that doesn't color? These colored pencils all show up. They're all distinct. I would definitely recommend getting those ones. But I would recommend getting at least 1 set if you can afford it, because they are beautiful colored pencils. What is your favorite set? I think mine is definitely the pastels. And then my second probably would be this designer. I just really like these colors because they're not your standard colors. Like, this is standard, but these are just like a pretty set. I think would look really good together if you were using it as a set. As we can see, you can blend these. So even having like 2 sets, I would probably go for these 2. And then you could blend those together. They look really good on black paper. They look really good on smooth paper if you're gonna use them on watercolor paper to get those watercolor effects. Definitely know that I probably would do the aqueous solution on everything, so you would get that effect on everything if I'm using the watercolor paper. But that's when I would definitely use that aqueous solution, is on watercolor paper. So I hope you guys like this video. Let me know, what was your favorite way I colored with these today? Would you guys buy them? What do you think? I feel like they are like this high quality pencil, so I feel like you really have to just experiment with it. Try it with like different papers, and you have to like, you know, see which palette you want and just kind of see what you want to use it for and just experiment with it. And then you'll kind of find how you want to use it, and it'll be perfect. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.